They are Baird Beavers. They're a garden tractor. They were built kind of as a universal garden tractor for small gardens, or you could get them with a lawnmower attachment or a plow for pushing snow. And I found this one through another friend of mine. He went to look at another garden tractor. That's how that usually happens anyways. So I found this one that way. I seen it in a picture that he showed me of this other one, and I went and bought it. The price was right, so, and I'd never seen one before. And then a year later, I was with my brother. He was buying something else, and the guys that we were talking to, they're like, "Oh, we got this garden tractor, this Baird Beaver." I'm like, "Oh," so I end up just buying the second one, which that's the only two I've ever seen. So, yep, they both run. Yep, just simple things. This one I took apart and painted the whole thing, regasketed the engine, and that's about it. So yeah, other than that, you know, these engines are a little bit of a trick to start, but they're not electric start. They're magneto ignition. Because when you turn them over, you hear that. There'll be a click. See, I hear that click? That's the magneto, and that creates the spark. So, and then it'll fire. But they're a bit of a trick to get started. So, and then all these other ones at the back are all mine. This is the one that it started with. My father-in-law gave me this one. It was sitting when they used to have a Ford tractor dealership. It was sitting in their back barn forever, and I asked about it, and he finally one day said, "Come get it." And that started all this. Yeah, and then I've just continued buying them. The one down here that's this Ford 120, my in-laws bought it brand new in 1975, and then they ended up giving it to me. So, but Angela says it's her tractor, so because it was her mom and dad's, right? So. Yeah, and this one I still use in the wintertime for blowing snow, and yeah, the rest are kind of toys, but you know.
They all look the same after a while. Yeah, actually, this is the garden tractor that I learned to drive on as a little kid. So it was usually my mom who would cut the grass, and don't ever do this now, but at the time in the early 80s, you'd take your kid on your lap while you were cutting grass. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on there. And so my parents bought it, and then it's been through a few different
Well, your dad had it forever, and he sold it to your Grandpa Hathaway.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he sold it to his farm. Right, and then my mom inherited it. Yeah, but no, that's probably the first thing I learned how to actually drive, because I had to cut a lot of grass with that lawnmower. And I know my dad would have the whole story, but apparently when I was, I'm going to say 4 or 5, they wanted me to help do dishes. I did not want to or think I needed to. And he basically said, well, if you're not going to help around the house, you need to leave. And apparently I packed up a bag, and I mean like a grocery bag, threw whatever I put in there, and went out to the garage and sat on the lawnmower because I knew I wasn't allowed to cross the street to go to my grandparents. So I probably was 4, and sat there for, I think, past dark, because I was not going in to do dishes, but I knew I couldn't go to my grandparents. And finally they just had to come out, and because he thought I would come back in, but I was sleeping there. But I was sitting on the lawnmower because it's a comfy seat, and that's my rebellious stage. Yeah, so that's probably one of the things. But it's fun to still have it. Because this is what they bought it right when they got married.
1975 is when they
Okay, so a year or 2 after they got married, they bought it. Yeah.
It's a 1974, but your dad said it was an old stock or whatever.
Oh,
so they
okay.
75.
They got a deal.
Because your mom worked at the Ford dealer.
Oh, yes. So my mom worked at. It wasn't called Cotrac then.
It was Cornell's Tractor.
Something like that.
John Bobier. I was born and raised in the West Lorne area.